What we've just experienced is not just another celestial event. It's one of the most powerful and transformative astrological shifts of the entire year. While many people assume that once an eclipse passes, its effects dissipate, the truth is quite the opposite. The real energy of this solar eclipse is only just beginning to unfold, and its impact will continue to ripple through our lives in ways we may not even realize yet. You might feel as though things have returned to normal, but beneath the surface, a deep, cosmic reset has taken place, altering the trajectory of everything from personal energy to major life events. To truly understand the significance of this event, we need to recognize that a solar eclipse is not just a moment in time. It's a gateway, a shift in the energetic currents that shape our reality. What you do today, how you respond, and the choices you make in the aftermath of this eclipse will determine the course of your path for months, even years to come. Many people unknowingly interfere with this process, either by resisting the changes it brings or by trying to force manifestations too soon without allowing the energy to settle. The consequences of such actions may not be immediate, but they will be felt as the universe reorganizes itself in response to this powerful celestial phenomenon. And this was no ordinary eclipse. This was a super new moon solar eclipse, an event of immense cosmic magnitude. Unlike regular new moons, which signal a time for planting new intentions, this eclipse acted as an energetic reset button, completely clearing the slate and creating a powerful void, a space where old energies dissolve, timelines shift, and new alignments begin to form. It wasn't just about welcoming new beginnings. It was about erasing the old entirely, making way for something that is yet to take shape. If you felt an unusual sense of unease today, a feeling that something is slightly off or unsettled, you're not alone. This sensation is the result of the deep energetic shifts taking place. And it's completely natural. Your spirit is adjusting to the recalibration, and your reality is reorganizing itself accordingly. One of the most common mistakes people make during an eclipse like this is rushing to set intentions. Normally, a new moon is the perfect time to manifest, to call in new desires and actively shape the future. But this time, the energy wasn't ready to receive those intentions in the way we're accustomed to. The eclipse created an energetic void, and in that void, things do not manifest in a straightforward way. Instead of planting new seeds, this was a time to sit with the emptiness, to observe, to allow the cosmic forces to clear what no longer serves before deciding what comes next. If you set intentions too soon, they may have been absorbed into the chaotic energy of the eclipse, potentially manifesting in unpredictable or distorted ways. So, what should you do now? The key is to pause and trust the process. Instead of pushing forward with force, allow yourself to flow with the energy. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities that emerge in the coming days. The universe is realigning, and opportunities that you might not have anticipated will begin to present themselves. If you feel unsettled, remind yourself that this period is temporary, a necessary recalibration before things begin to take shape in a clearer, more aligned way. This eclipse was an opportunity, not just for change, but for transformation at the deepest level. The shifts it has set in motion are still unfolding, and they will continue to influence your path long after the initial event has passed. Be mindful, be intentional, and most of all, be open, because what comes next may be even greater than anything you could have imagined. Eclipses have long been considered portals of transformation, moments when the usual rules of manifestation seem to shift. If you've set an intention during this time, don't worry. You haven't done anything wrong. However, it's essential to understand that eclipse energy is anything but predictable. It doesn't follow a straight path, and the bigger your intention, the more likely it is to unfold in unexpected ways. Delays, detours, and twists in the journey are not signs of failure, but rather indications that the universe is rearranging things in ways you might not yet comprehend. If your manifestation was small, simple, and flexible, it may unfold smoothly. But if you've aimed high, if you've asked for something deeply transformative, be prepared for a process rather than an instant result. What you desire may still arrive, but it might come through an entirely different door than the one you were expecting. Ancient cultures understood the mystery of eclipses and often approached them with reverence rather than action. They saw these celestial events as times to step back, to allow the shifting tides of energy to settle before attempting to direct them. This wasn't about fear or restriction, it was about alignment. Imagine trying to plant a seed in the middle of a storm. It's not that the seed won't grow, but the conditions may not be ideal. Sometimes, the most powerful way to prepare for change is to create space for it first. Clearing, rather than grasping, allows the new to arrive in its fullest potential. This brings us to an often overlooked factor in how we experience these energetic shifts: our environment. Today, more than ever, the space around you matters. The eclipse is not just influencing you, it's amplifying everything. Every thought, emotion, and energetic frequency in your surroundings. If you've been feeling restless, overstimulated, or emotionally off kilter, this isn't random. It's a reflection of how heightened everything is. The energy of an eclipse acts like a magnifying glass, making the invisible visible, the subtle overwhelming. A room that normally feels fine might suddenly seem oppressive. A conversation that would typically be neutral might feel exhausting. You may walk into a space feeling centered and leave feeling scattered, anxious, or even inexplicably irritable. This isn't just a shift in mood, it's an energetic overload. The reason for this is simple. We are constantly absorbing the energy of the people and environments around us. And today, that effect is intensified. Every person carries their own emotional state, their own unresolved thoughts, and whether we realize it or not, we're always exchanging energy with them. In daily life, this might go unnoticed, but during an eclipse, it's almost impossible to ignore. When you're surrounded by people, their frequencies don't just exist alongside yours, they mix with yours. This is why your intuition might feel foggy, why you may struggle to hear your own thoughts clearly. It's not that you lack inner guidance, it's that your inner voice is competing with an excess of external noise. So what can you do? The answer is both simple and powerful. Create space. If possible, spend time alone. Even a brief moment of solitude can help you recalibrate. Better yet, step outside. Nature is more than just a soothing presence. It's a natural energy cleanser. Walking barefoot on the earth, feeling the wind against your skin, or simply breathing deeply under the open sky can reset your energy in ways that no amount of overthinking ever could. The goal isn't to force clarity, but to allow it. Right now, if your mind feels noisy, it's not because you need more answers. It's because you need more silence. True insight doesn't emerge from chasing, it arises when we make space for it to land. This eclipse is not here to test you, it's here to shift you. Let it. Let's be honest. You've already seen the signs, felt the nudges, and heard the whispers. Maybe you've even received the message so clearly that ignoring it should have been impossible. And yet, here you are, waiting, hesitating, searching for just one more confirmation. But what if I told you that the universe isn't in the business of repeating itself endlessly? What if the proof you keep asking for has already been given, and your real challenge isn't in receiving the message but in accepting it? Eclipses don't provide new answers. They only illuminate what has always been there. They pull back the curtain on the truths you've avoided, the choices you've delayed. The path you've known deep down was meant for you. The biggest mistake you can make right now is convincing yourself that you need more proof. that one more sign will finally tip the scales. But the reality is, if you keep demanding more signs, the universe will eventually go silent. Not because it has abandoned you, but because it has already given you everything you need. Think about it. How many times has the same thought crossed your mind? How often has the same situation repeated itself, almost as if the universe is pressing replay until you finally learn the lesson? How many times have you caught yourself waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect moment? But here's the hard truth. Clarity doesn't come from endlessly searching for signs. It comes from choosing to trust what you already know. Today is not the day to seek external validation. It is not the day to hope for yet another confirmation. Today is the day to sit with what you already know and decide what you're going to do about it. And if that decision feels uncomfortable, if it shakes you, unsettles you, or even terrifies you, good. That discomfort is proof that the message was real. Not everyone is meant to be saved today. Perhaps you've already felt it. Shifts in energy, people behaving differently, emotions running high. Maybe you've noticed that friends, family, or even strangers seem overwhelmed by frustration, sadness, or confusion. This is what eclipses do. They don't simply change things. They expose things. They bring buried emotions to the surface, force uncomfortable confrontations with truth, and trigger awakenings that are often messy, painful, and deeply personal. And this is where so many misstep. They try to save others from their own transformations. I get it. You care. You see people struggling, and your instinct is to help. Maybe you can see exactly what's holding them back, exactly what they need to do. But here's the truth you need to hear. This isn't your transformation. It's theirs. When the universe shakes the ground beneath someone's feet, they are meant to find their own balance. Some will resist. Some will spiral. Some will break down before they break through. And if you step in too soon, if you try to pull them out of their storm before they've learned how to stand in it, you risk robbing them of the very lesson they were meant to receive. Not every drowning person needs to be rescued. Some need to learn how to swim. So today, listen, not just to the universe, but to yourself. Trust the knowing that already exists within you. And as for those around you, let them walk their own paths, make their own choices, and find their own strength. The universe speaks to each of us in its own way. Your job isn't to translate its messages for others. It's to honor the one it gave to you. This doesn't mean you need to detach yourself emotionally or remain unaffected by what's happening around you. It simply means that your role today is not to fix, heal, or rescue others. It's to create a space where they can feel seen, heard, and understood. To listen without judgment. To offer your presence without trying to control the outcome, and to let them navigate their emotions in their own way. True healing doesn't come from external intervention, but from an internal realization. And when the dust settles, those who are meant to rise will find their own strength to do so. Yet, as you try to find your own grounding, you may notice something unsettling. The tools and practices that once brought you peace, those that felt like anchors in turbulent times, now seem ineffective, even meaningless. You attempt to center yourself, but instead of calm, you feel a growing restlessness. You light a candle, whisper affirmations, and attempt meditation, only to find that none of it brings the clarity or comfort it once did. Your mind refuses to quiet down, and no matter how many times you try to return to your breath, the familiar stillness remains out of reach. Why? Because today is not like any other day. Some days, the usual methods don't work because they're not meant to. Eclipses, in particular, have a way of shaking things loose, disrupting the energy we've grown accustomed to. and forcing us to step outside of our habitual ways of coping. They act as cosmic catalysts, breaking apart the routines and rituals that have become crutches rather than tools for true growth. If you've been relying on the same affirmations, the same spiritual practices, or the same routines for too long, today might be the day they lose their potency. Not because you are failing or falling apart, but because you are shifting, evolving into a version of yourself that requires something different. Think of a snake trying to shed its skin but resisting the process. The old skin is too tight, too worn, no longer serving its purpose. But still, there's hesitation, a fear of what comes next. This is what happens when we hold onto familiar coping mechanisms, even after they've stopped serving us. The discomfort you're feeling isn't a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're outgrowing the ways you've been soothing yourself. What once felt like clarity may now feel like confusion. What once felt safe may now feel suffocating. But this isn't failure, it's transformation. The universe is nudging you to expand beyond what you know, to explore new ways of finding peace, to lean into the unknown rather than retreat into the familiar. Your soul is calling for something deeper, something truer to where you are now, not where you used to be. Instead of resisting, allow yourself to sit with the shift. Let go of the expectation that things should feel the same, and instead open yourself to what's emerging. Because sometimes, the discomfort of losing what no longer fits is the very thing that makes space for something greater to take its place. When life feels unsettled, when the things that usually ground you seem to slip through your fingers, the instinct might be to try harder, to force clarity, to demand understanding, to grasp onto something familiar. But what if you don't need to try at all? What if the very act of striving is what's keeping you from truly experiencing what this moment has to offer? If meditation won't quiet your mind, maybe that's because your mind isn't meant to be silenced right now. Maybe it's speaking in a language you've never stopped to hear before. Instead of battling the noise, what happens if you listen, not to control, not to judge, but to simply witness? If journaling feels like it's only making the mess bigger, maybe it's not the tool you need today. Maybe today is about stepping away from the words and into something wordless: movement, breath, sensation. Maybe it's about allowing your body to process what your mind cannot. If nothing seems to be working, maybe, just maybe, it's because nothing needs to be fixed. Maybe today isn't about healing, solving, or achieving. Maybe today is about surrendering to the unseen process already unfolding within you. You're not lost. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are shedding. There's a version of you that is no longer meant to move forward, and it is falling away. And yes, that can feel unsettling. It can feel like emptiness, like confusion, like stagnation. But it is none of those things. It is a transition, a recalibration, an opening. If today feels different, if the usual methods of understanding yourself aren't working, let that be okay. Resist the urge to analyze it, to label it, to compare it to someone else's experience. You were never meant to go through transformation in the same way as anyone else. You are moving through this in the way that is right for you, even if it doesn't look dramatic or profound. Social media might be flooded with people speaking of radical breakthroughs and undeniable signs. Some may describe epiphanies that changed everything overnight, while others find their world suddenly turned upside down. And then there's you. Maybe you don't feel much of anything. Maybe the air around you simply feels different, subtly off-kilter, like the world tilted half a degree. And that little voice creeps in. Am I missing something? Did I do this wrong? Shouldn't I feel more? Stop, breathe. Let go of the need to measure your experience against someone else's. The universe doesn't speak in a singular voice. Not all transformations arrive with fire and thunder. Some are whispers in the wind. Some are the quiet rearranging of something deep within you, unnoticed until one day you wake up and realize you are no longer the person you were. Let this moment be what it is. Let yourself be as you are. Whatever is meant to remain will remain, and whatever is meant to go will go. You do not need to force the process. You only need to trust that you are already in it. Not every transformation announces itself with fanfare. Not every breakthrough comes with flashing signs or grand revelations. Some changes strike like lightning, shattering the familiar world in an instant, while others arrive as a quiet whisper, an almost imperceptible shift deep within, a knowing that something has changed, even if you can't yet put it into words. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, assuming that transformation should feel dramatic or visible, that if you don't experience an immediate revelation, you must have missed something. But the truth is, no two journeys are the same. Just as the ocean moves in both crashing waves and slow, steady tides, the energy of change works differently for everyone. Some may feel the force of a seismic shift, their entire inner world overturned in an instant. Others may only sense the subtle hum of something new beginning to unfold, like a seed buried beneath the earth, growing in darkness long before it ever reaches the surface. We live in a world that values tangible evidence, where we are conditioned to seek proof of change, to measure, compare, and confirm our progress. But real transformation often defies measurement. It happens in the in-between moments, in the silent recalibrations of the soul, in the quiet realizations that only make sense long after they've occurred. The eclipse hasn't overlooked you. Just because you don't see the shift doesn't mean it isn't happening. It is. The energy is at work in ways that may not yet be clear, orchestrating changes that will only fully reveal themselves in time. So release the need to measure or validate your experience against another's. Let go of the belief that change must be loud to be real. Trust in the unseen movements shaping your path. When the time comes, you won't have to ask if you've changed. You'll simply know. The shift will be undeniable, not because it was loud, but because you will feel it in your bones, in the way your thoughts move, in the way your spirit breathes. And if today feels strange, if something feels off-kilter, disconnected, or just different, know that you are not imagining it. There is a reason. The air carries a different weight. The energy hums with an unfamiliar frequency. Time itself seems to move in unpredictable ways. Reality feels stretched, distorted, as if something fundamental has been rewritten just beneath the surface of awareness. Maybe you feel heavier, as if gravity has intensified, pressing you more deeply into the present moment. Or maybe you feel unmoored, as though the ground beneath you has softened, making everything around you seem just a little less solid, a little less real. This is the nature of transformation. It is not always comfortable, it is not always immediate, but it is always unfolding in its own perfect way, at its own perfect pace. You are exactly where you need to be, moving through exactly what you need to feel. Trust that, trust yourself. Even in the silence, even in the uncertainty, something profound is taking shape. And one day soon, you will look back and realize that everything has changed. A solar eclipse is far more than just an astronomical event. It is a profound energetic shift, a moment when the very fabric of reality seems to bend, allowing something new to emerge, while momentarily distorting what once felt certain. This cosmic alignment is not just about the moon passing in front of the sun. It is an interruption of the status quo, a temporary breakdown of the energetic patterns you've been operating within. In that fleeting darkness, There is both a void and a possibility, a chance to reset, to let go, and to realign with a version of yourself that is still unfolding. As the eclipse moment arrives, you may feel it in ways you don't entirely understand. It affects not just your emotions, but also your perception, your physical body, and the unseen energy that connects you to everything around you. You may notice a peculiar sense of disorientation, as if reality is flickering between two different versions of itself, like a glitch in an old film reel. It is as if the universe is hitting pause for just a second before pressing play on something slightly altered. That pause can be unsettling, a moment where your mind instinctively searches for stability, for something familiar to grasp onto. But this is not a time for clinging to the past. It is a time for embracing the unknown, stepping forward even if you can't yet see the path ahead clearly. This shift can manifest in different ways. Some may feel exhausted, as if their energy has been drained, their thoughts clouded by an unshakable heaviness. Others may experience the opposite, sudden waves of clarity, creativity sparking from nowhere, an inexplicable urgency to act. The energy is fluctuating, recalibrating itself within you, sometimes subtly, sometimes with an undeniable force. And just as quickly as one feeling arises, another takes its place. It may seem like mood swings, a roller coaster of emotions, but it's not randomness. It's realignment. You are not lost. You are in the midst of transformation, standing in the liminal space between who you were and who you are becoming. Perhaps today feels lighter, as if the storm has passed and something deep within you has settled. Maybe a long-held burden suddenly seems irrelevant, or an answer you've been searching for arrives effortlessly. But don't mistake this for a conclusion. Eclipses don't simply end, they echo. Their effects ripple through time, revisiting you in subtle yet profound ways. This is not just about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you will do when the dust settles. The universe is not merely shifting your energy today. It is watching to see how you respond in the days, weeks, and even months to come. When old patterns resurface, as they inevitably will you step back into them? Or will you recognize that they no longer hold the same power over you? The eclipse is a doorway, but stepping through it is your choice. It is an invitation to trust the process, to surrender to the unknown while knowing that you are being guided towards something greater. You are not merely witnessing a celestial event. You are participating in a cosmic dance of endings and beginnings. The question is, what will you make of it? That person you once swore you were done with, the one who hurt you, who tested your patience, who made you question your own worth, somehow still lingers in the corners of your mind. That emotion you were certain you had buried, the one you thought had no power over you anymore, sometimes resurfaces in the quiet moments when you least expect it. And that habit, the one you convinced yourself was behind you, still waits in the shadows, anticipating a moment of weakness to creep back in. Life has a way of testing our resolve when we least expect it. Just when we start to believe we have moved on, that we are stronger, that we have changed for the better, we are confronted with familiar situations, tempting us to revert to old patterns. The real question is not whether we say we have changed, but whether we truly have. Are we merely hoping that we are different, or have we actually done the deep, often painful work of transformation at some point? Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe when you least expect it, you will face a choice. It might not be dramatic, it might be subtle, quiet, almost unnoticeable. But in that moment, you will have to decide whether to fall back into who you were or rise into who you are becoming. Growth is not just about wishing for change. It is about making decisions again and again that align with the person you are striving to be. It is about resisting the pull of old ways and leaning into discomfort, because discomfort is often the price of transformation. So when that person reappears, when that emotion resurfaces, when that habit whispers its familiar promise of ease, ask yourself, have I truly changed? Or am I simply hoping I have? The answer lies not in what you tell yourself in moments of strength, but in the choices you make in moments of weakness. If you've made it this far, thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to reflect. If this message resonated with you, consider sticking around, subscribing, or sharing your thoughts. Your support is not just appreciated, it's what keeps these conversations going. Until next time, take care and keep choosing growth.